Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Payne. Welcome back to another episode of Blu Ocean Crypto. So we recently posted our best attack strategies for Headquarters 5, and we've been getting a lot of requests for 6 and 7. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover with you guys today. The strategy that is absolutely wrecking bases in the higher trophy range, and it's exactly the same troop composition pretty much between HQ6 and HQ7. So let's jump right in.
I want to play.
So I'll just kind of show you guys an example here. 12 brutes, 7 boom carts, 46 markswoman. You can, if the 219 out of 220 bugs you, you can kind of mess around with the numbers a little bit. I just like this. I find it's working pretty well. I don't want to go light on the boom carts. I like having quite a few because generally when you deploy your boom carts, you don't just want to deploy one, because if you blow a hole in a compartment, the boom carts will go somewhere else. But if you actually deploy them all at the same time, you can simultaneously destroy wall segments. And I'll show you guys this in an attack. If you have lower level brutes, maybe it can be good to add a little bit more than 12. So definitely play around a little bit with this strategy. I'm also not generally even using Mira. I am going to show you guys it with Mira so you can get a sense, but I mean, this strategy is strong enough even without it. So let's jump right into a battle here. We can kind of get right into the thick of it. And there's definitely some key aspects on how to deploy. Okay, so what are we working with here? Now I want to go in on the base on a wide angle. So actually what I'm going to do is this. We're going to go really wide, and then just get all the markswomen to start attacking, and then I'm gonna do the boom carts. And you can see we just did a nice maybe 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. They're moving in pretty easily now. I'm not even gonna use my Mira for this one, as this base just wasn't that strong. You can see we're gonna take out the enemy Mira no problem with our markswomen. It does pull them off or veer them away when you're not worrying about pulling the Mira and you're just going right in for it. So sometimes you got to watch out, because if all of your markswomen get pulled to Mira and then a Modar's there, it's going to ruin your date. That's also why I find it's really important to spread the deployment really wide. So for example, I might go from 12 o'clock all the way down to 6 o'clock. But you can see in this one, I went from 3 o'clock all the way till 9 o'clock. And we just walked through that entire base. Now that wasn't a difficult base. I think it might have even been HQ6, not 7. So let's just train up another army and we'll go right into it. 7. Get the markswomen going. And we'll just jump right in. Now, you can kind of see I was doing like single tap deployment. It is generally better to kind of release them all at the same time. This base is a little too easy for me, because I'm max HQ7. Well, not quite max, but all my troops are maxed. I want to actually try to find something that's a little harder. And you can see there's only one missile tower there, so we know we would be a bit of a bully if we did that. Now, bullying is fine, it's trophies, but I want to try to find something that's a little bit more difficult. And there's a particular style base, kind of the anti-boom cart base, that this does really well against. You guys, I'm sure you've ran into it when you're up in the higher trophy ranges, where you're kind of forced to, well, there's good oil there. You're forced to send your troops in from a particular side. Oh, here's one of our bog guys. Does he have the 2 missile towers though? He does not. So we're going to keep spinning. But as I was saying, the anti-boom cart bases that generally we were seeing in the higher ranges, what they're doing is they're forcing you to attack the base from one particular side, and then you could boom cart the center. But because all the defenses and storages and everything are so clumped up, usually bases couldn't get through them. And I'm just going to do an attack here if we don't find another one in a second. But I was hoping to find one of these anti-boom cart bases so I can kind of show you guys. But even still, just getting a sense of how the attack works and how to deploy it is really what's most important. I don't need oil at all right now, whatsoever. So really as far as loot goes, I do want gold, but I'm more in it for the trophies right now more than anything. That's really where I'm focused. Here's a great example. Okay, so here's an anti-boom cart base. right? They're kind of forcing you to come in on this top right. They've got all their gold storages here, and I'll just kind of show you guys how I do it. So we're going to do a nice line of brutes. We'll leave 3. We'll do a line of markswoman. I'm going to follow up with the remaining 3. I like doing this kind of second line, but with the boom carts, you do have to be kind of particular here. You got to drop them all at the same time, because if you just destroy only one part of the wall, they won't blow up the other parts. Now you can see how I destroyed most of that wall segment, but I had to deploy the boom carts in such a way, or else they all just would have went through one hole. Then by doing this, I'm effectively allowing my troops to just walk through the entire base. Now you can see the issue with the motor over there. That motor gets my markswoman, I am going to be in a little bit of trouble. So that's the only risk with it, and why I like doing kind of the staggered deployment of the 2 separate rows, where I did most of the brutes, then the markswoman, kind of waited like 5 seconds, few more brutes, remaining markswoman. Basically the idea is the markswomen are just going to punch through the base, because they can one-shot anything when you have enough of them grouped up. So I'll just do one more here for you guys to show you again. 7 boom carts. We'll throw the rest of the markswomen in. And this has been my go-to strategy. I mean, at HQ6, it's very powerful because it's when you first unlock the markswomen. But then at HQ7, I've been testing pretty much every kind of troop composition that I can think of. And this one is just straight up the most consistent with the 3 stars. So knowing that is also helping me with base designing quite a bit. Oh, this looks like an interesting one to go through. This is an HQ7. I can boom cart. I kind of want to go really wide here. We're going to go really wide. We're going to drop the boom carts. I think we'll throw Mira in on this one just because it's our last attack. And by going really wide, I'm kind of protecting my markswoman from just getting absolutely wrecked by like 1 AoE missile defense. Get that Mira. There we go. We got to push through this missile tower up here too. I am worried about the brute's survivability a little bit on this. Yeah, those markswomen are just going to get wrecked. That's okay. We've got a nice pack going on the right-hand side. This space is actually a little tougher than some of the other ones, but it's mostly just because my markswoman's pathing on the left-hand side didn't really follow through with Mira, or sorry, with the brutes. But we can see my Mira on the right, and then these markswomen are just going to walk through the rest of the base here, no problem. So this is a great example of like, sometimes the pathing isn't always going to work exactly how you hope, because it is kind of a spam attack a little bit. It's not as strategic, but even still, you know, your markswomen just do so much damage, and they can outrange ice towers and flamethrowers, which is absolutely insane. I think that's something that makes them extremely powerful with this attack. Obviously, the motors are your worst enemy. If the brutes are dead or they retarget to the pack behind your brutes, that's when you can kind of get into some trouble. And then, of course, markswomen can't really handle missile towers.
I want to play.
Okay, guys, that's it. This is the best attack strategy for HQ6 and HQ7 currently. We do know there's some pretty crazy balancing changes coming soon, so I'm going to be curious to see if air units start to become more of the meta, you know, how whales are going to play out. Skyfires are going to be a little bit different because anti-air is going to do splash damage. We also know that the ice tower and flamethrower are no longer going to be able to attack air. So really curious to see the changes, and I'm excited to learn the new meta. And of course, when that happens, we will definitely be figuring out what the best attack strategies are then and releasing those videos to you guys right away. So thanks so much for being subscribed to the channel. It really means a lot to us, and I appreciate everyone who smashed that like button. We'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.